Srila Prabhupada is mentioning how karmis and jnanis, karmis means fruity workers, and jnanis or dry mental speculators, they are so inferior as compared to the devotees. So karmis means fruity workers, they always want something from God. That's why they refer God as Bhagavan, because you have so much wealth, because you are having so much Aishwarya. So everyone comes, those fruity workers or karmis, they go to demigods, or sometimes they go to even Vishnu Tattva with their own material desires. So they want material gain. For example, I think this story is told by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, that one time a boy went to a temple and he said, Bhagavan, please pass my examination. Then, he came every year, Bhagavan, please pass my examination. Then he came, Bhagavan, please help me get a job. Then he got a job. Then after a few years he came, Bhagavan, please give me a wife. After a few years he came, Bhagavan, please give me a nice son. And then he disappeared. He did not come for a few years. And here Bhagavan, the deity, is wondering where did he disappear. After a few years, the person came and he said, Bhagavan, please pass my child's examination. So the cycle is like a cycle. All they want is material gain. Please give me this, please give me that. And they are never satisfied. And they consider Krishna, or they consider God as a waiter who will fulfill all their orders. The second type of persons, as described by Prabhupada, is dry speculators, or these jnanis. Those who do word jugglery. They like to, misinterpret the teachings of the Vedas, or they want to misinterpret Bhagavad Gita. They are considered offenders because ultimately they want to become one with God. They want to be one with Supreme Absolute Truth. So the impersonalists are the ones who say the Supreme Absolute Truth is nirvikar, nirakar, nirgun. It doesn't have any form, or it doesn't have any guna, any quality. So that is very condemned, because ultimately their aim is to become one with God, which is not possible. It is like Prabhupada gives example, if a green parrot enters a green dense tree, from a distance it may appear that the tree and the parrot merged, but it never happens. The person who can see from close distance, he can see the tree has its own separate existence and the parrot has its separate existence. So the maximum benefit mental speculators or jnanis can achieve is they can only merge in Brahman effulgence. The effulgence that is coming from the body of Krishna, they can go there and they can practice nothing. So because they think that there is no guna, there are no activities, the Supreme Absolute Truth is inactive. That's their concept. So they go there and they just stay there. So what benefit they get is only they get relieved from the anxieties of the material world. So they know one thing, that this material world is dukkhalayam ashashvatam. That thing they have realized. They don't want the miseries of the world. At the same time, they do not want to serve Krishna in the Vaikuntha planet. So that's why they escape. They're called escapists. So Prabhupada also mentions Buddhism. Buddhism is one step beyond Mayavad, or one step worse than impersonalism. Because Buddhism tells that your body is the cause of all miseries, so get rid of the material body. So they do not say, perform suicide, because if you have material desire, then that material desire will manifest in another body. You have to take another material body. So Bauddhic philosophy is that you should become desireless. So Mayavadi conception is that everything is one, and Buddhist conception is everything is zero. So Prabhupada also condemns this philosophy. And in Bhagavad Gita, we see that in 15th chapter, Krishna gives wonderful explanation how Krishna is beyond even, the personalities who are liberated. Because impersonalists think that after liberation, they become one with God. But Krishna in 15th chapter says, Dvavimau purushau loke kshara akshara evacha kshara sarvani bhutani kutastha akshara uchyate. So Krishna is saying, there are two types of persons. There are two types of beings. Kshara and akshara. Fallible and infallible. It can also be seen as Nitya Siddhas who are liberated and Nitya Baddhas who are eternally conditioned. So Krishna is giving two distinct categories of living beings. But he says that Uttamaha Purushastu Anyaha Paramatmeti Udarata Yo Loka Trayamavesha Bibhati Avyay Ishvara. So Krishna is saying, but there is Anya, there is someone else, the third person who is even beyond Kshara, even beyond the liberated souls. There is one person who is Supreme Soul, Paramatma. In this specific verse, Srila Prabhupada translates Paramatma as Supreme Soul, not Super Soul. So Srila Prabhupada is mentioning that that person is supreme and he is the soul. So Supreme Soul. So that person has entered all the three worlds and he is maintaining them. So there is a completely separate, distinct existence of that supreme person given in Bhagavad Gita. But Mayavadis, they don't like to see these verses. They like to only take the part that benefits their philosophy. That's why Prabhupada said it is Ardha Kukuta Nyaya. They want to only take the half of the chicken that gives the eggs, but they don't want to discard the other half, which is not possible. Prabhupada also mentions that impersonalists are like owls. An owl, in the daytime, it closes his eyes and then it asks, where is the sun? There is no sun here. And in the night time, when it's all dark, then it asks, show me the sun. Where is the sun? There is no sun. There is no existence such as sun. There is nothing like sun. So Prabhupada said we have to invent a machine by which we can forcefully open the eyelids of these impersonalists. And Bhagavad Gita 12th chapter verses 1, 2 and 3, Prabhupada mentions that for the time immemorial, impersonalists have been making baseless arguments like owls. So Vaishnavism means unity in diversity. And Mayavad means destroy the diversity. So Vaishnavism, we respect the variegatedness. We understand that everything is different. Everything has its own existence. Like we see in Krishna's pastimes, Krishna had millions of cows. And Krishna knows the names of each and every cow. Krishna doesn't think these are only bunch of cows. Krishna is so specific. He knows the name of each and every cow. Each cow has her own special bodily features. They have their own face cuts. And it is nicely described that the cows also want to look good for Krishna. So they go and peep in the waters of Yamuna. So they have their own personalities and Krishna respects their personalities. So Buddhism is like they say everything is zero. Impersonalists say everything is one. It's like suppose in this room, if suppose lights are not there and if we meet in the night time, everything will be dark. You cannot see the deities, you cannot see Prabhupada, you cannot see me. And at that time you may think that everything is one because everything is dark. Just imagine in the night time everything is pitch dark, then you may say that everything is one. So that is the conception of Mayavad, impersonalists. They say that everything is one. And they do not respect the variegatedness. It is like Srila Prabhupada tells one wonderful story that a boy is suffering with some eye infection or cataract. And his uncle comes and the father says, my boy is crying and yelling and, he is suffering from the eye infection. The first uncle suggests that, why don't you pluck out his eyes? The problem will be solved. The father says, are you rascal, are you crazy or what? How can I make my own son blind? So the second uncle comes and he suggests that, why don't you just simply kill your son? Then you won't hear any, cries and yelling. These two examples resemble impersonalists and Buddhists. So Mayavadis or impersonalists, they want to pluck out the eyes. It's like they want to negate their senses. They want to get rid of their senses. And they want to enter Brahma Jyoti. And they do not want to use their senses. It's like they want to pluck out the eyes. And Buddhists, they are like they want to kill themselves. It's like they don't want desires. They don't want their own existence. It's like they want to commit spiritual suicide. That's why Prabhupada, we see, especially in Bhagavad Gita, he condemns these two philosophies. So even the ultimate aim that Mayavadis can achieve after millions and millions of births of practice, the maximum they can achieve is they can go to Brahma Jyoti, and where there is only Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. There is only Shanti. It's like one time there was a couple, a husband and wife. And as usual, they used to fight sometimes. But one time they fought real bad. And they decided, you stay in your room, I stay in my room. No more talking. If we talk, then we fight, and it's too much of distress. So they decided, no more talking. A few days passed, and everything was Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Everything was peaceful. And they enjoyed it. They enjoyed for first week. They enjoyed for a few more days. And they were, not talking at all. But then, after a few weeks, they realized that this platform of Shanti, of peace, is nice. But it's not funny. It doesn't have any... It's not that wonderful. So they decide to again, come back to their original platform of love. Love is like a superset. Shanti is subset of love. Wherever there is love, Shanti comes along. Peace is always there in love. So they started to again, talk and exchange, reciprocate their loving exchanges, because even though there are fights, but that's their natural behavior. So, that's like Mayavadis. They go to the Brahma Jyoti, and after spending millions of years, they again decide this is just nothing. Just sit here and Om Shanti Shanti. No prasadam, no kirtan, no nothing here. It's better I go there and suffer down than just sit down and, just negate the senses. So that's how a yogi falls down. Prabhupada explains the fall down of a yogi very nicely. And that's why we always refute, we always condemn Mayavad. So one time Prabhupada, a Mayavadi came to discuss with Prabhupada. And they had a long discussion. And it became night time. And Prabhupada was, completely refuting his arguments. He was completely blasting the Mayavad person. And finally, Mayavadi person said, okay, it's night time. Can I stay in your temple? So Prabhupada said, yes, you can stay here if you want. That time the disciples came to Prabhupada and said, Prabhupada, are you sure you want him to stay in these premises? Prabhupada said, yes, but do not associate with him. So Prabhupada did not allow his disciples to associate. Next morning, Prabhupada found out that the person left, but before he left, he left so many flyers of his own Mayavadi program. So he left so many pamphlets. And the disciples came to Prabhupada saying, Prabhupada, see, that's what happens when we allow these people and they always want to do something weird like this. Prabhupada said, okay. But the disciples said, what can we do of these pamphlets? Should we throw them? Prabhupada said, no, don't throw them. Just keep them with you for now. But everyone was thinking what to do with those flyers, because we cannot just disrespect any spiritual path. We cannot just throw or dump anything. We cannot trash it. At the same time, it's completely something that we condemn. Vaishnavism does not accept Mayavad philosophy. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Mayavad bhashya shunil hail sharvanash. Whoever will hear Mayavad, whoever will take interest in Mayavad philosophy, everything will be ruined. Everyone was thinking what will be the action of Srila Prabhupada. So next morning, Prabhupada gave amazing Bhagavatam class, very strong, heavy class. He explained everything in detail about impersonalism, Mayavad, and how Vaishnavas are superior. And then Prabhupada asked the disciples, distribute all the pamphlets, distribute all those flyers, distribute among the audience. And everyone was shocked what Prabhupada is up to. So everyone got the pamphlets, and Prabhupada said, now serve Mahaprasad on those flyers. So everyone nicely ate Mahaprasad on those flyers. So that's the greatness of Srila Prabhupada, that he can do and he can solve any problems. That's the actual sign of Nitya Siddha, that they never get affected. They are never defeated by any question. They have solution to every question of life. That is one of the signs of Nitya Siddha, eternally liberated person. Jai, all glories to Srila Prabhupada ki jai.